Hey guys, it's Allie, and in today's video, we are going to be doing a Q&A. I haven't done one of these in at least a year. I did do an Etsy related one a few months ago, so if you are interested in that topic, growing a small business, anything like that, I will link that in the description. But this Q&A will not only contain one or two Etsy questions, but I will also be answering some questions about AGTube, my collection, and even myself outside of this whole doll AGTube thing. So without further ado, let's get started. Starting with Instagram. Where did you find AGTube? So I got into AGTube a bit later than I feel like most people did. I feel like most people got into it with people like Steven's What a Dancer, but for me, I got into it with AG Overseas Fan and then Basil Mentos, $5 Stars, those people. So when I first got an American Girl doll, I really owned the doll and the hairbrush and that was it. So I wanted to learn how to make things for my dolls. So I watched my Froggy stuff, one of the first YouTube channels I ever watched. I've been subscribed to her for years, and I watched a lot of her 18-inch doll crafts. And then in the recommended was AG Overseas Fan's Elsa room decor video thingy, because my sister wanted to watch that video, and then me being the goody two-shoes that I was like, no, it's a strange channel, we don't know like if it's kid safe and stuff like that. But we did click that video, and then I ended up watching AG Overseas Fan, so I guess she was the first AGTuber I watched. And then from there, she would make videos like her PO box openings, and people would ask her what AGTuber she watched, and then she would mention people like Basil Mentos and $5 Stars. So then I watched them, binged their videos, and then from there I discovered more and more and more channels. Who do I want for Girl of the Year 2022? This is a very hard question. Anytime someone's like design a Girl of the Year, it is super hard. I'd love to see a doll of color. In terms of hobbies, I'd love to see someone who's just nerdy and into trivia just like me. I don't know how many like 10 to 12-year-olds would be super into that, because I feel like that's more of a high school thing. I'm not really into it, but I'm surprised that there has never been a soccer player Girl of the Year, given that when I was in elementary school and even in high school, I know so many people who play soccer. So it's very big, at least where I am, and I'm very surprised that AG has never made a soccer player Girl of the Year. Who was my first AGTube friend? Well, unfortunately, a lot of my first AGTube friends are no longer active on the platform. My first ever collab was 4 years ago, 55 views. Terrible thumbnail. It's not even the right dimensions, but it is DIY AG flower vases collab with AG flower crown. Don't know what happened to her. But another one of my really big old AGTube friends was, I want to say her name was Pixie Studios. She was really nice, she had good series, and then she just kind of vanished. But my current AGTube friends would probably be Boy Meets Dolls. She's inactive on like AGTube and AGIG, but she does go on daily and chat with people, view stories and like posts and things like that. The Doll Place, and then of course AGIGers. I'm pretty sure you guys all know I'm friends with AGIGers. Advice for finding your video or photo style. I think finding your style is something that's continually evolving. If you look back on my photos, like even a year ago, they're not the same as they are now. Even my videos and thumbnails, like my thumbnails, I have a style, but it's always shifting. So I guess just play around with things, see what sticks, what do you enjoy, what does well. I guess that's my tips, but the longer that you stick with AG, then the more time you have to kind of figure out what your style is. Advice for making videos professional and cohesive. I don't want to say you have to spend money to start an AGTube, but I guess if you do want to make your videos look more professional, you might have to spend a little bit of money. Right now, I'm recording on my Blue Yeti microphone, which I got a few months ago. I absolutely love it, especially because it works really well for the type of content I make, and it definitely does make my videos more professional. However, you definitely do not need a fancy microphone to make videos. So I guess work with what you have and try and use everything you have to the best potential. The 3 things you need to make a good YouTube video are video, audio, and lighting, in my opinion. So for lighting, film in front of a window, you got beautiful natural lighting. For sound, if you have an iPhone, voice memos is pretty decent for recording audio. I've used it in a lot of Dollcast episodes, and that is free and easy. And then in terms of a camera, a lot of iPhones nowadays are pretty good for that. For video, if somebody's filming on an iPhone, I can't really tell a big difference. Photos, it's a lot more obvious because you need to get like blurs in the backgrounds and certain effects that you can really only do with lenses. But that's pretty much my advice. And then in terms of making it cohesive, I have a backdrop I use in all of my videos. I have an editing style I've developed over time, and my thumbnails I use like the same font and things like that. If you only got to change one thing about AG right now, what would you change? This is really hard. Probably the outfits. Of course, their market is still kids, and I'm fine with them catering to kids, but the fact that what they are making really only caters to, I want to say, the 8 and 9-year-olds that they're trying to target, and given that their dolls are meant for like up to age 12, I'm a teen collector, there are a ton of adult collectors out there. I just wish that they would make some items that were a bit more mature, or at least more basics that you could kind of mix and match with other things to make it a bit more mature. But that's one thing that Etsy does well that AG has not copied yet. Who is my least favorite doll AG has ever come out with? This is really, really hard. If we're talking just doll overall and not really collection, maybe Gabriella, just the fact that she was a recycled Truly Me. I do like her collection, but in terms of a doll, there was zero creativity there. Favorite thing about Pleasant Company? Probably the outfits that they produced back in the day. I talked about this in my Things I Dislike About American Girl video. They aren't necessarily inappropriate for people who are younger, but they're also not babyish either. They had a lot of basics. I love the blue jeans basics outfit. It's just some mom jeans, a red tee. I was even able to recreate that look with things that I own in my own wardrobe. So just stuff like that is what I love about Pleasant Company, because it's trendy still today, partly because the 90s have come back in fashion. There's not a lot of pink and sparkles everywhere, and I really like that. Favorite AG pet? I'm biased here, but I'm gonna say Bon Bon, Grace's dog, because that was my first American Girl pet. So I have a lot of memories with Bon Bon. Favorite AG face mold? I love the Sonali mold. Some of my favorite dolls, like my Melody and my 62, are Sonalis, but I also really love the Nenea mold because Alana is so cute. That's my Nenea, by the way. Who's your dream doll? Maybe a Mary Grace, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's a dream doll. I will die if I get a Mary Grace. What is the most amount of dolls that you would ever want to have at a time? I don't really know if there's necessarily a number. One thing though, I have 22 dolls as of filming this video. I'm not planning on getting any more before this is uploaded, but you never know. And I feel like compared to when I had a smaller collection, all of my dolls had their own personalities, and I would use all of them equally. But with having a bigger collection, there's definitely some dolls that will get the cuter outfits or I'll use more often. But in terms of the most I would want at a time, I think it just depends on how I can store them all. I thought I was at a limit, and then I got some new storage a few months ago, and now I have room for even more dolls in my collection, and I do have room to even get a third storage unit and get more dolls. So as long as they all fit and don't take over my entire room, I will keep collecting dolls. Favorite Barbie movie? I have to go with Barbie in a Fashion Fairy Tale, and I know a lot of you guys watching who love the Barbie movies, love the 2000s ones, like Princess and the Pauper, which I've actually never fully seen, don't kill me. But for me, I just love Fashion Fairy Tale because it was one of the first Barbie movies that I watched, and I had it saved on the PVR, all the Barbie movies actually, and I rewatched it over and over. The transformation scene was my childhood. That movie was my childhood. I was a Barbie obsessed kid. I owned a Barbie in the Mermaid Tale doll, not a Fashion Fairy Tale one, but Fashion Fairy Tale has a bigger impact on my childhood. Princess Charm School is really good too. Do I think I will grow out of dolls? I honestly don't think so. I've been playing with dolls all of my life. I don't really play with them anymore, but I grew up with Groovy Girls and Barbies and Polly Pockets, and now I collect American Girl dolls, and the fact that I've been doing this for pretty much my entire life, I really don't feel like I will grow out of dolls anytime soon. I definitely won't give them away because I'm just way too sentimental about that stuff. I can't even sell any of my dolls, so I don't think I will. Maybe eventually I'll stop buying new ones, but I don't think I will grow out of dolls 100%. Do you have a dollhouse? Yes, I do need to film an updated tour, but there is one on my channel from, I want to say 1 or 2 years ago. I believe it's one of my most popular videos, so you could probably find it that way. My dollhouse is half in my closet and then also half on top of and underneath of this built-in vanity that came with my room. So yes. Opinions on the 35th anniversary dolls. I did touch on this in my things I dislike about American Girl videos, but the dolls themselves, they're really cute. Some of them are my favorite versions they've ever made, such as the Felicity, because the original one, I really did not like her eye color. She looked kind of creepy, but then the Be Forever one, she just did not look like Felicity. This one's like the perfect in between. They are collector items, but like they're the type of dolls that I wouldn't want to take out of the box. I am annoyed they can't ship to Canada, but I do understand why. But in terms of the overall idea, I'm not a huge fan of them bringing back the dolls, as I feel like it decreases the value. And even though they aren't the exact same dolls, some people won't be able to tell a difference, and your Kirsten, which was super valuable, just lost all of its value. Who is your favorite AGTuber and or AGIGer? It really depends what kind of a mood I am in, but I will shout out AGJitters here. She's one of my closest friends, but her videos always amaze me, whether it's her amazing editing skills, her really good storylines, and her videos are just so aesthetic too, and she's also on AGIG and super creative with her photos, so I'm gonna shout her out there. Who is your favorite doll in your collection? Probably Alana, my Nanea doll, or Naya, my Truly Me 62. And what doll do you want to get next? I really want another redhead in my collection. I only have one, so I'm eyeing 33 and 61, and I also want another Jess mold in my collection, as my only one is Kanani, but she's not like a full Asian doll, and then my Asian doll is a 25, so it's not a Jess mold. But the problem is all of my favorite Jess mold dolls, so like 40, 30, 54, they're all retired, so I really don't know what doll I'm gonna end up getting next. Addy or Kaya? I have to go with Kaya just because I feel like she's a bit more photogenic. In terms of stories, I haven't actually read Kaya's books, but Addy's are probably the best that you can get in that Be Forever historical series. They are so good. I always say this, but if you have not, please read Addy's books. They are amazing. They will make you cry. But that also might just be because I've connected with my Kaya more than I have with my Addy. She's kind of customized, and I haven't really been able to find the perfect wig for her. And Kiona, my Kaya, I've been able to connect with her way more. The legendary AG Smiles asked, what is something that you've always wanted to do, doll related or not? I've always wanted to go to New York. I really want to travel more. I haven't really explored the East Coast of USA other than Florida, and I feel like New York is just a really cool city, so I'd really want to go there. I also really want to go to Europe and really all the continents, at least step foot on all of them. This is my nerdy aviation geek coming out, but I would love to ride in a 747 or an A380 because I've never been on a double-decker plane. I love airplanes. There's like small things, but in terms of overall and where my life is at right now, I'd love to just travel. Who is my most recent doll? That is a tie between Quinn, who is my Ruthie doll, and Margot, who is my Krissa doll. You can watch their fixing up videos in the description down below. Any tips on starting an AGTube channel? Anytime somebody tells me, oh, I'm starting an AGTube channel, what should I post? I always say start with the trends, because you are trying to get noticed. If you are just a random channel who is unknown on AGTube and you're just starting out and you come up with a really unique video idea, but it's not something that a lot of people are searching for, you're not really gonna get discovered. Compared to if you start with something like an All My Dolls video, which those usually tend to do really well. Not only is it a great introduction to you and your collection, but people are more likely to find that video as it is searched quite often. In terms of equipment, as I said earlier, work with what you have and try and make it the best that it can be before you start investing in things like a camera, a tripod. I do actually recommend a tripod before you start investing in things like a camera and a good microphone, because you don't want to do YouTube for 6 months and then quit and then you just wasted a ton of money on equipment. Favorite H2O character? I watch H2O with a few AGIGers. If you guys like H2O, let me know in the comments. But my favorite character, I'm gonna have to say Cleo, or Clear, because I feel like her character has grown a lot over the 3 seasons, because like in season 3, she's kind of taken over Lewis's role and she's become a lot more mature, and I feel like she's very interesting too. She also loves her fish, which is super cute. She reminds me of myself because I have a younger sister who reminds me a lot of Kim. Who would your dream collab be? This is hard. It depends if you're talking like within the AG universe and doll universe, or just in general, because within the doll universe, I I would love to collaborate with my Froggy stuff. I've been watching them for years, one of the first YouTube channels I ever watched. I know they're not super into American Girl dolls anymore, but I would love to do like a craft collab with them, and from what I've seen, they are super nice. They respond to like my comments on Instagram and things like that, and I feel like it would be so much fun to collab with them. But in terms of YouTube in general, I would love to collab with Sophia Nygaard. I am not on her level at all, but I absolutely love her content. Who is your favorite girl of the year? Probably Leah Clark. She's a really stunning doll, and I absolutely love her collection. I own a lot of pieces in it. How are you? I'm doing pretty good right now, thanks for asking. What has been the best part of collecting AG dolls in your life? Probably meeting people who have the same very unique and peculiar hobby as me. Being a teen or adult doll collector, it seems really isolating sometimes because you're probably the only one at your school who has this hobby. So being able to connect with people on platforms like AGTube and AGIG and even meet up with some of these collectors in real life, it's really nice. And it makes me feel a sense of community and that I'm not alone, and I really love that. Do you have any tips on how to add more space for more girls? I assume you mean dolls and in terms of storage. I am working on a updated like how I store my American Girl dolls type of video because I did get shelves a few months ago, but I have to finish filming that. I've had the footage for like months. So I do hope to get that up somewhat soon, but no promises. But I do have these IKEA shelves. They are the Billy bookcases. They're about $50 Canadian each, and each unit holds about 16 dolls. I have 2 right now, but I do have room in my current setup to add a 3rd, but they are fairly inexpensive and store a lot of dolls, and none of mine have fallen yet, so 10 out of 10 recommend. Describe the experience of getting your first doll in an AG place. I was super little. I was wearing the ugliest outfit ever. I know my mom took photos of my sister and I don't remember too much other than like the theming was still like the Inner Star U pinks and stuff like that, but I was just super excited, and I guess walking into a store filled with dolls was super surreal. What inspired you to start YouTube? So I had been watching YouTube and AGTube for about 2 years before I started my channel, but I've always been the type of person, and I even still do this to this day. It's probably because I'm a Gemini and we're lonely, so we talk to ourselves, but I'll like stand in front of a mirror and pretend that's like a screen, and then I talk as if I'm doing a YouTube video, and then eventually I just turned it into a channel because I really wanted one, and I was like, hey mom, can I make a Google account? Sure, and here we are 5 years later. What inspired you to start your Etsy? So I've been ordering from Etsy for a while now, and then one of my Etsy owner friends, the Petite Whale Co., and I were talking after I placed an order with her, and we were talking about sewing machines because I was like, I'm spending so much money on Etsy, I might as well just get a sewing machine, bite the bullet. So as a quarantine gift from my parents, I got a sewing machine, and then once I got to a stage where my sewing was pretty decent and I knew how to make a few things, I started my shop because it's always great when you can turn something that you love doing, such as sewing, into a business and make a bit of money off of it. What do you study in college? So I'm actually not in college just yet. I'm graduating high school in just over a month, which is really scary, but I am going into college in the fall, and where I'm going, you don't declare your major until 2nd or 3rd year, depending on the program. So I'm doing Faculty of Arts. I haven't decided for sure what I'm going to go into in terms of a major, but I'm thinking about doing sociology or human geography. What do you think of Courtney Moore? I feel like she really overshadowed Mary Ellen. I'm one of the people who absolutely loves Mary Ellen. So the fact that Courtney Moore kind of came over and took away her spotlight, I'm not a huge fan of. I feel like another reason I dislike Courtney Moore is because of the way AG promoted her. So those music videos and being like, Courtney, 1986. She feels like a little kid to me because of that. But I do love her denim jacket and her jeans. They're pretty cute. What is your most recommended type of editing program? So if you want something that's free, I recommend iMovie. It's way better than Windows Movie Maker. I used that for years, but then a few months ago, I bought myself Final Cut Pro. It does cost a lot of money. However, you're only paying that money once, and then you have the program and its updates forever, compared to something like Premiere Pro, where you pretty much pay the same amount, but every single year. Premiere Pro is great if you want to do things like film. It's industry standard. However, for the type of content that I make and what works best for me financially, Final Cut Pro was the best route to go. What camera do you use? I use the Canon EOS Rebel T6, usually with a 50mm 1.8 lens on. Any small AGTubers that you love? By small, I'm not sure exactly what you mean because everyone's interpretation of that is different. So I'm gonna say under 1,000 subscribers is a small AGTuber. I always keep a running list of this on my phone for when I eventually will make a video, a part 2 of my favorite AGTubers under 1K. But some that I will quickly shout out are Frog Talk, very small AGTuber, but she does a lot of sewing videos that I really love. Kyla Suzanne, she does some really cool top 10 videos and I've done a collab with her before. Moon Dolls has really good stop motions, and also Glass Handed Dolls. She deserves way more subscribers. Her videos are amazing quality and I absolutely love them. Sorry if I didn't mention you, I don't want to drag this question on forever. Would you ever make more stop motions? Yes. I'm not sure when this Q&A is going up, but I'm currently working on a stop motion as a grad project, but I do plan to post it on AGTube. We've got some cameos from a bunch of AGTubers who are helping me out, and that will be coming soon, but it is super exhausting, so I don't think I will become a full-on stop motion channel. I love this question. What are your favorite K-pop groups, and do you have any song recommendations? The group that first got me into K-pop is Blackpink. I know all of their B-sides, I know all of the members. My favorite group right now is probably ITZY. They just had a comeback. I love all of their title tracks and they have some of my favorite K-pop choreos, and as a dancer, I love learning the choreos. I love Twice, I love Luna, but I do listen to a few other groups here and there. In terms of song recommendations, Mafia in the Morning right now because that's what I've been listening to nonstop. Do you have any hobbies besides dolls? Yes, I do trivia, so it's kind of like Quiz Bowl if you're from USA, or Jeopardy just without the money. I also dance, and yeah, those are my hobbies. Sewing, I guess, too. What is your YouTube setup like? So in terms of lighting, I have these Amazon umbrella lights. They were about $60 Canadian, I want to say, for 2, and those work really well. My backdrop is just a piece of foam board with contact paper on it. My camera, as I said earlier, is the Canon EOS Rebel T6 with a 50mm 1.8 lens. My microphone is a Blue Yeti X, and my editing software, it's not really a channel setup, but that is Final Cut Pro. The last question is going to be, what doll or dolls would you want to bring out of retirement and why? So this is hard because kind of like with the 35th anniversary line, I'm not super into bringing dolls out of retirement as it does defeat their value, especially if they look exactly the same as they did before. But if I had to pick one, I would probably say Caroline, just because she was only around for a few years and her eyes are very unique to her, which makes me grateful to have my Caroline, but I do wish she came back. Also Mary Grace and Cecile, because they also had a very short run. So I have no clue how long this video is going to end up being. I've been recording for 30 minutes, but hopefully I'm not posting a 30-minute video. But if you guys did like this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to comment down below any other questions I didn't answer in this video, and I will hopefully get back to you because I love reading your guys' comments. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and ring that bell so you are notified whenever I post a new video. And of course, have an amazing day, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!